Today we're checking out more Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 3.
Deploying a subspace relay in the Gamma Quadrant. If successful, it will allow communication through the wormhole for the first time.
Cool.
Provide Cardassian food.
Security measures?
I've assigned 2 of my people to follow the Cardassians at all times.
That's a good call. And this piece, we'll see about it.
I want the Bajorans to get used to seeing them walking on the promenade, buying from their shops, eating from their restaurants, getting to know them as something other than brutal overseers.
They're gonna have to, otherwise it'll never work. It's gonna be tough.
How does it look?
I'm still not convinced it's going to work.
The Cardassians seem sure that it will.
Doesn't like the tech.
And how do you know their names? I was just informed an hour ago. Odo.
There's nothing he doesn't know.
I've had 3 cases in my storeroom since the occupation. There hasn't been much call for it the past few years.
But you never know. I love his golden bow tie.
And as the 34th rule of acquisition states, peace is good for business.
War is good for business.
Of course.
For there's a permanent Cardassian presence on the station. Scientists, diplomats, spies.
There'll be no live Vol fights on the promenade, Quark.
I would never be party to anything so cruel.
Is it like cockfighting?
They happened to get into a fight. I could hardly be held responsible
Oh,
for...
yes, you could.
Oh, yes, you can.
That's just the beginning. Soon, Quark's will become known as the best place for Cardassian food and drink in this sector.
Oh, all he sees is dollar signs. Well, latinum signs.
I suggest you take your bottles and leave, Quark, before I have you arrested for attempting to poison our guests.
Thwarted again. Right, so Cardassians are just gonna come on board and walk around?
They don't want you to let the Cardassians come aboard this station. If you do,
Of course he would
you
say
will
that.
bring destruction on us all.
Well, that's vague. I always forget the deal with him as an emissary. They don't really go into it that much, and I really don't know how, Cisco feels about all that. He doesn't ever talk about it. It very rarely comes up. I feel like that's not been explored a lot. A little bit, but not a lot. All right, let's do it. Destiny.
And even now, the Vipers are making their way here.
And I take it you think the Vipers are a reference to the Cardassian scientists.
Yes.
I mean, prophecies are tough because you could apply it to a lot of things.
Or they will destroy it, and Bajor will be cut off from the prophets forever.
Slow down. Let me get this straight.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
Vipers, the Cardassians,
The
are going to destroy the
scientists.
wormhole.
Oh,
This communications relay you hope to create is part of the prophecy. It will allow the Vipers to peer through the temple gates.
is he gonna listen to this?
Even if we accept that the Cardassians are the Vipers, there are only 2 of them coming, not 3.
She's skeptical.
It'll facilitate exploration, help us monitor Dominion activity,
Yeah.
give us warning in case of an attack.
None
Yeah,
of that
yeah.
matters.
Just based on some prophecy? I feel like we're gonna need more proof.
I have the utmost respect for your beliefs, but I have no intention of calling this project off.
He's gonna need more proof. I think that's fair.
My followers and I will remain on the station and pray that you change your mind.
You are free to do that, of course.
What does him being emissary mean to Kira? Her religion seems very important to her.
Odo find out everything he can about Vedic Yarka and his followers. I don't want them making any trouble while the Cardassians are here.
Yeah, we can't just shut down this project because some guy showed up and said there's a prophecy. It is tricky for him, though, with his role as, I don't even know, he's like this iconic guy in their religion, but it doesn't mean anything to him personally. It's so weird.
And I'd like to welcome you to Deep Space Nine.
Thank you, Commander. I'm Dr. Ulani Belor.
Galora Rajal.
They look nice.
It is our hope that it is the first of many such projects between our peoples.
Okay.
That's a hope I can assure you we share.
I am on board for peace.
And on behalf of the Bajoran Provisional Government, I'd like to welcome you. It is our belief that this project will mark the beginning of a new era of peace.
Wow, I never thought I'd see it. That was reluctant, but she did it.
I want to thank you personally for allowing us to come here.
Me?
You're the ranking Bajoran officer on this station.
Nice, classy.
I'll work with anyone who's interested in peace.
I'm glad we already have so much in common.
Why don't I show you to your quarters?
All right, that was all very nice. I thought maybe a couple of Cardassian dudes would come aboard and I'd be like, oh, they're shady, but they seem nice.
A similar transceiver will be put in place here on on Deep Space Nine.
That slip of the tongue there.
So that it can accommodate the type of transmissions we're planning to use.
Chief O'Brien's people can assist you with that. We'll take the Defiant to the Gamma Quadrant, deploy the communications relay, and start running tests.
Nice.
We'd like to get some rest so we can start fresh tomorrow.
I'll have someone show you to your quarters.
Thank you, but that won't be necessary.
Maybe I should be suspicious of them.
Now, those are about the two friendliest Vipers I have ever met.
Right?
I almost forgot to tell you, another colleague of ours, Dejar, will be arriving later today.
I'll arrange quarters.
Thank you.
3 Vipers.
There are gonna be 3 of them. 3 Vipers. Just like in the prophecy.
But is it a coincidence? I gotta chill. Just like in the prophecy. This show has been very careful not to say one way or the other if prophecy is indeed true.
So Yarka may be using this prophecy as a way to scuttle the peace treaty.
Yeah.
And it's probably coloring his view of the prophecy, just as your agenda colors how you see it.
Yeah, maybe he's genuine. It's skewed.
I was referring to your desire to distance yourself from the title of emissary. It's just an observation, of course,
Is that correct?
that you've never been comfortable with it.
I don't know that I would be. It's not his people. It's not his religion.
Are you suggesting that I'm dismissing this prophecy too easily because I don't want to be the emissary?
I'm not suggesting
Maybe.
anything.
Subconsciously, maybe.
That all humanoids have an agenda of some sort, and that their agendas can influence them without their even realizing it.
Yes, true.
If not, the Celestial Temple will be destroyed.
I'm not convinced that's going to happen.
And don't you believe that Commander Cisco is the emissary?
Does she? I want the answer to that.
Commander Cisco is my superior officer. I have to deal with him on that basis first.
Yes, okay.
You must convince him to make the Cardassians leave before the Sword of Stars appears.
If you're asking me
It is not I who is asking, it is the prophets.
I don't know.
And without your faith, Nerys, what do you have left?
Faith is very important to the Bajorans. I know that.
I took an interest because I had the chance to meet Elosia.
You knew him?
One of my previous hosts, Tobin, met him while he was in
Oh, Brian, he's over it.
Our colleague, Dejar.
We weren't expecting you so soon.
I was able to arrange special transportation.
I'm sure you were.
Shady?
Tojal in yamuk sauce. Rogova eggs.
All fresh, not replicated.
Do they like it? It's an odd choice to serve someone their food that they would eat, like from their place.
We're actually quite spoiled. Some of us even think of ourselves as better than the average Cardassian.
What is going on there? Drama between the Cardassian ladies. Keeping up with the Cardassians.
But these relays don't have nearly as much carrying capacity as before. They won't be able to handle the signal load from the...
They think he's terrible. Why should be so hard on him?
To be caught without a second backup.
Rolls her eyes.
In that case, could you give me a cup of red leaf tea?
He's gonna lose it.
Why not?
Really? Anything to get away from her, probably. I'm waiting for, like, more to be revealed here.
And set a course for the wormhole.
Engage. Yes, wormhole action.
No sign of Dominion activity. No other ships in the area.
I mean, I thought there was
All
gonna
right.
be trouble.
Take us into position. Stand by to deploy the relay.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute.
It looks like a rogue comet.
Let's have a look.
Comet.
Put it on screen.
A rogue comet.
The Sword of Stars.
I mean, I guess, but like, that's commercial break. It could be true. The prophecy could be true. What would happen if a comet hit a wormhole? It would just go through the wormhole, right?
This prophecy has no place on the bridge of the Defiant, especially in front of the Cardassians. At
Yeah.
the moment, they are not even aware of it.
It would only complicate things.
I take it, Major, that you believe the prophecy is coming true.
I mean, it appears that way.
3 Vipers, now the Sword of Stars. Each of them predicted by Tricor's prophecy.
But it's vague. It could be anything.
You have a decision to make, just like in the prophecy.
Do you really believe that I'm the emissary?
I don't think he does. She does.
I guess I always have. I
Wow.
never wanted to admit it to myself.
Wow.
I hope I don't offend your beliefs.
He's gonna say, I don't believe it.
I'm a Starfleet officer,
Yeah.
and I have a mission to accomplish. If I call it off, it has to be for some concrete reason, something...
Yeah, what's he gonna tell Starfleet?
Your knowledge of the future to a Bajoran named Tricor. He wrote down that knowledge in the form of a prophecy.
He can't go to Starfleet with the prophecy.
Seeing those events unfold. To
can't.
me, that reasoning sounds concrete. I'd even call it Starfleet.
No, No.
Hinges on how you interpret an ancient text that's been
Yes.
translated and retranslated over this.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But where you see a sword of stars, I see a comet. Where you see vipers, I see 3 scientists.
Like, it could be, but it also could not be. I wonder if we're going to get a concrete answer here, one way or the other, how the show feels about prophecies and the Bajoran religion and all of that.
All right, now we just have to shunt the ODN line through the secondary field coils.
Still at it.
If you had told me what you were planning to do, I would have.
I don't have time to
You
explain
guys need to work
everything.
together.
What? You think I won't be able to understand?
Yeah, she thinks he's an idiot, for sure.
Men just don't seem to have a head for this sort of thing. That's why women dominate the sciences.
Oh, really?
This man is chief of operations, and I know more about these systems than anyone, including you.
That is true.
So if you want to get that transceiver online, hand me the laser torch and give me some room.
Move it, lady. What is this?
Are we ready on this end?
Almost.
It's the transceiver thing?
Let's try the theta band frequency.
Initiating carrier wave.
There we go.
Something's wrong. I'm picking up a neutrino surge from the wormhole.
Whoa! Oh, what the brig?
Terminate the carrier wave and maintain our position.
Is this prophecy gonna turn out to be true? That would be shocking.
If the comet enters the wormhole,
Guess
the
what?
silithium in its core will cause a cascade reaction.
And collapse the wormhole permanently.
Just like the friggin' prophecy? I gotta chill. Commercial break. It could still be coincidence, but
Well, that wasn't included in the data you sent us.
The probability of such an occurrence was less than 2%, well within safety limits.
still could have told them.
The Science Ministry will undoubtedly wish to assemble a new team before...
That is, of course, an internal Cardassian matter.
Handle your own drama.
It would probably break into smaller pieces and we'd have a bigger mess on our hands.
The same thing would happen if you tried to destroy it with a phaser beam.
What about a nuke?
Wide enough to encompass the entire comet.
vaporizing it evenly so it won't break up.
How long would the modifications take?
3 hours?
Make it so.
I'm going to try shunting it through the warp drive.
Won't
Yeah,
that overload
shunt
the
it.
relay?
Not if we bypass the plasma emitter.
She's awfully close.
What are you doing now?
I'm decoupling the servos so they don't lock up.
I want to make out.
You have very steady hands.
Oh my. He is taken, lady. What is she doing? Have you ever done it in a vent shaft?
Quite fertile.
Quite fertile.
I could provide you with many healthy children.
Oh, he has a healthy child.
Children? What are you talking about? I already have a child. And a
Yeah.
wife.
And she's hella cute.
Then why have you been leading me to believe that you wanted me?
Has he?
I haven't.
Giving her signals he didn't even know?
I took your overt irritability toward me as a signal that you wish to pursue some physical relationship.
Really? Cardassian flirting.
I'm not remotely interested in you.
You're the worst.
Attractive, and I'm flattered, of course.
Please.
She's the prettiest Cardassian I've seen. Well, I didn't see that coming.
You're reading up on Bajoran prophecies concerning the emissary.
There are hundreds of them.
He's never read them before? I would have read them immediately.
Truth in a few of them to make me wonder.
Right?
You mean some of them have come true?
If you interpret them in a
Like what?
certain way, yes.
It's weird.
If you never heard Tricor's prophecy, what would you do?
I'd continue working on the communications relay.
I want to know more about the prophecies he read about that have kind of come true. That's interesting. He's a little bit convinced.
Shields up. Go to red alert. Fire!
Whoa! Everything shorted out.
We fired a standard burst and it shattered the comet instead of vaporizing it.
There's no way they should have misfired like that.
What happened? What happened? Did the Vipers do something?
We have no way of stopping them.
This seems like a to be continued moment. Commercial break. We're gonna wrap it up in this episode? What happened?
I must have accidentally inverted the power flow when I tried to
did
modify the
someone else?
phaser array. Can't believe it.
One of them did it.
This wasn't your fault, Mr. O'Brien. And it wasn't an accident.
It was
Delora.
that.
Dejar is a member of the Obsidian Order.
Freaking Obsidian Order.
A DNA scan on the coupling should reveal who's responsible.
Yes.
Take her to quarters and detain her there.
Now take her to Odo.
Too close together, there's not enough room.
A shuttle pod could maneuver between them, and its warp drive should be able to create a large enough subspace field.
Can they get back?
I want to go with you.
Not just because I'm your first officer, but because I believe I'm here to help the emissary.
Really?
I'm going to take us in behind the comet fragments. It'll be easier to maneuver into position.
So you have to go like into the middle and then make a bubble?
They could be in for a rough ride. Stand by transporters in case we need to beam them off the shuttle pod when they clear the wormhole.
Yeah, that's a good call. Now, can they move this field or are they hoping it bounces off?
Something's coming through.
So guys, the fragments. Was that in the prophecy? What if they change something so a prophecy doesn't come true?
I don't believe it.
What is it, Chief?
I'm picking up the test signal from the communications relay.
Hey!
It's almost like the wormhole was wedged open just a crack to let subspace signals through.
Prophecy came true.
Whoa.
He wasn't talking about the Cardassians. He meant
the comet?
The 3 comet fragments.
See, that's the trouble with prophecies, though.
And it's all because the emissary used the Sword of Stars.
And Tricor saw it all 3,000 years ago.
I guess it came true. I got chills again. Prophecy come true. But it's like impossible to interpret it until it happens. You can't use it to predict, but maybe to look at something that's already happened.
I know how proud you are of your work.
Too proud sometimes. It's
Maybe.
gotten me into trouble now and again.
But you can back it up.
What's your wife's name?
Keiko.
A lucky woman.
Wow.
I'm sorry I doubted you. I realize now I let my distrust of the Cardassians blind me to the Prophet's words.
Yes, you got it wrong, dude. You should listen to your emissary.
Tricor's 4th prophecy says that the emissary will face a fiery trial, and he'll be forced to choose.
What? Don't fade out. A fiery trial and he'll be forced to choose. I want to know more. Don't fade out. Ah. Okay, that was season 3, episode 15, and that was a pretty brilliant episode, actually. In terms of like, I still don't even know what the show is really saying about whether prophecy and the Bajoran religion, is it true or not true? They were so able to show it being both true, but also enough doubt that it could be not true. I mean, technically, you could interpret it that the prophecy came true. Yeah, you totally could. But you could also say, like, it's a coincidence. And I'm not sure that Sisko is totally convinced. Kira certainly is. But, you know, there's going to be people who would be convinced by that and people who wouldn't. And I think the show, I'm just so impressed with how it, like, walked that line. I thought it would have to either come true or not come true in, like, a definitive way. But it's just, like, so cleverly written that it could be true. Sure, it could be. It could be absolutely be true. And there's enough evidence there. It certainly seemed like it was true. You know, in hindsight, you know, they didn't interpret it right in the first place, but what actually happened could be what the prophecy was saying. Yeah, it could 100%. But it could also just be that we are putting, you know, we're doing that thing that humans do where we see a pattern where there really isn't one, you know, and we're putting the words to certain things and giving it meaning that it doesn't really have, because it is so vague and it could be applied to a lot of things. I mean, like I said, they got it wrong in the beginning. The guy predicting was wrong. He was, I mean, from his perspective, he's going to say now in hindsight that he was right, but his original prediction was wrong. It did come true, according to him, so that part's true for him. But his, you know, the scientists are not the 3 Vipers, it's the comet. So the details weren't what he said they would be, but ultimately I think they're going to claim that it was true. I think Kira believes it was true, absolutely. It's interesting too, I hadn't given that much thought, because the show hasn't touched on it that much, to how Kira feels about Sisko being the emissary and how Sisko feels about being the emissary. It just hasn't been touched on that much, and it was cool to get some answers on this. I mean, the questions were asked outright. Kira believes that he's the emissary. She does believe that, but she has to deal with Sisko where they're officers first and her job comes first, and that makes sense. But yeah, I do think if it comes down to it at some point in the future and she has to go one way or the other, do I believe in him as the emissary or not? She's gonna go, yes, I believe in the emissary, which is interesting. And then for Sisko, I think that scene where she came into the office and he's sitting there looking into his computer monitor or whatever, he's looking at the old prophecies and he says, you know, some of the details did come true and they could be true. So I feel like he's maybe softening to the idea that he could be this emissary of this religion, of this race that he's not part of. It's just so strange to be a religious icon for a religion you don't belong to and a race you don't belong to. Is so interesting. I wonder how any of us would feel if you were just told that that you are this religious icon of a completely separate people from you. That's so strange. But yeah, I mean, I don't think up to now, Sisko had been convinced. I don't think he's convinced at this point either. That's just my guess. But I do think certainly there's like little seeds in his mind though. I think he's sort of thinking it could be true. Maybe. That's sort of where he is, I think. And that's sort of where I am, I guess. I think it would be really interesting if it was true. And what would that mean for the larger universe? That a religion is true, that prophets and prophecies are true. What does that mean in the Star Trek universe, I wonder? Very interesting. I like it a lot. I like all this stuff, this religious philosophical stuff. I'm into it. I like it. This was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think of this. No spoilers, of course, but when you saw this episode, not touching on anything going forward yet, but when you saw this episode at this point in the show, were you convinced that the prophecy is a real thing, that he's really the emissary? What did you think? Where were you? And now we're going to check out another DS9, episode 16, so come on over and check that out with us. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I had a great time. I hope you had a great time too, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.